In ancient Japan, there was a big and famous monastery. A young Buddhist monk lived in the monastery. He was a follower of a respected Zen master. The Zen master was a wise and famous person. The monk served his master faithfully and learned a lot from him. The young monk was very wise, hardworking, and honest. He studied each chapter that the Zen master gave him very carefully. He always followed the teachings of his master and never disobeyed him. He was always dedicated to his work and always met the expectations of his master. This made the Zen master very happy. One day, the Zen master gave the young monk an important task. He called him over and gave him a letter. The letter was very important and must be delivered to someone in a faraway place called Kyoto. The master stressed that the letter must not be lost or fall into the wrong hands. The lives of thousands of people depended on the letter's timely delivery. The monk immediately set off on his journey, taking with him food and his sword. He rode on horseback and soon reached a riverbank. There was a narrow bridge across the river, and on the other side was a samurai warrior. The samurai had sworn to challenge the first 100 people who crossed the bridge, and he had already killed 99 people. He was waiting for the 100th person to come so that he could fulfill his oath. When the monk's horse stepped onto the bridge, the samurai's voice rang out, demanding a fight. He drew his sword and warned the monk that he would die. The monk was afraid, but he remembered his teacher's words. The letter was very important, and he had to deliver it. He begged the samurai to let him pass, promising to come back and fight him after he had delivered the letter. The samurai was convinced and allowed the monk to pass. The monk thought about the encounter on the bridge the whole time he was traveling. He was so lost in thought that he didn't notice when he reached his destination, the hermitage of his Zen master. He told his master about what had happened and asked for help. The master told him that he was sorry, but he couldn't help him defeat the samurai, but he gave him some advice on how to die peacefully. The monk returned to the bridge and followed his master's advice. He stood with his sword raised above his head and his eyes closed, waiting peacefully for the samurai. The samurai was surprised by the monk's stance. He had never seen a warrior stand so calmly and fearlessly before. The samurai realized that the monk was a powerful warrior, even though he was unarmed. He sheathed his sword and approached the monk respectfully. The samurai was so impressed by the monk's composure that he asked to become his disciple. He realized that the monk had mastered himself, and that this was a higher form of mastery than any he could achieve through violence. The monk agreed to teach the samurai, and the two of them became friends. We are all like the Buddhist monk in this story, and that samurai is our life's most difficult problem. We all have difficult problems in our lives that seem impossible to overcome. When we feel like we are in a hopeless situation, we should remember the monk's example. He did not beg for mercy or fight back. Instead, he faced his problem with patience and peace. He showed the samurai that he was not afraid, and this made the samurai respect him. The same is true for us. When we face our problems with courage and determination, we will eventually overcome them. We should not give up hope, no matter how difficult things seem. We should remember the monk's story and stay calm and focused. If we do, we will eventually succeed.